when I tried to decide what we were going to talk about, what angle was I going to take on Overreaction Monday today, August 21st. Eagles, the roster taking shape. I'm like, it's been a long time since we've really talked Sixers. So I got to get the Sixers into the conversation as well. So you know what I decided to do? I decided let's go early. Let's add an extra 15, 20 minutes to an already hour-plus long show because we got to talk Eagles. We got to talk Sixers. Maybe you want to dabble with the little Phillies. Whatever else you want to talk about. Trending in the AM, we're live here on Philadelphia Sports Network. 30 seconds.
Fourth and goal.
And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live, Facebook, YouTube, X. Make sure you do the general thing we do every day. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, follow button, notifications, and do me a favor and tell a friend and share the show out. Help us grow the community of Trending in the AM, the only morning show in Philadelphia, hell, the only show, period, in Philadelphia, where your opinions actually matter. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel. Bearded Knowledge on Twitter, you know the drill. We're here to talk all things today. What is up, Tyrone? How you doing this morning? Glad to have you in right from the get-go this morning. And we got lots on the agenda, but mainly two topics on the agenda. Phillies. Maybe if anybody wants to talk Phillies, we can add them to the conversation. But Sixers, Eagles roster starting to take a little bit more shape this weekend with a lot of things that are going on. So we're starting to figure out what is going on with this Eagles team, where Howie over the next couple of weeks has to maybe make some slight adjustments as we get set for the season to start. And then the Sixers, this drama with James Harden and Daryl Morey, reports that the NBA is going to open up an investigation. I just can't wrap my head around it. We haven't really spoken much about it, so I want to make sure that is on the table to talk about today. What is happening with James Harden and Daryl Morey? Why are we in this position? How do we get out of this position? And how do we get out of this situation without Joel Embiid being so frustrated that he eventually wants to leave? What is up, Anthony? How you doing this morning? Saw you back Friday, and you're back. We hooked you back in, Anthony. You can't help it. Once you get a little taste of Trending the AM, you got to come back for more. So we're talking Eagles and this roster. We're talking Sixers and this situation. And like I've said before, how you cannot look at this Sixers situation and instantly just be like, thank goodness for Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie and the Eagles organization. Because while we've had drama in Philadelphia with the Eagles in the past, this team is as far gone from drama as humanly possible. They are as culture-oriented as possible compared to the Philadelphia Sixers. And this Daryl Morey, James Harden, I'll throw Josh Harris into the equation as well. I'm in, baby! I love it. I love the baby right there. It's stupid with the Sixers. The inmates are – and Tyrone, you're spot on. And, while I'm not in James Harden's camp, and I'm not on Daryl Morey's side of the equation, because I think they're both wrong to an extent somewhere in this situation, I almost want Daryl Morey to hold firm with whatever is going on, because the players in the NBA just have too much control. And it's insane how one player like James Harden says what he says and can hold a team completely hostage. I mean, that's what we talked about at the end of the season. After the Sixers season ended in disappointment again, losing in the second round, which we should have won, I said it, like the whole entire offseason was centered around what will James Harden do, and he was holding us hostage then. He was holding us hostage, not deciding what he wanted to do. And now that he decided what he wanted to do, opt in, now he decided he doesn't want to play here. So he's holding us hostage even more. Opting in held us hostage. James Harden has been holding us hostage. Dame Lillard has been holding Portland hostage. You know, it's insane. This just happens year after year in the NBA. And again, while I don't think Daryl Morey is equipped to handle this situation, like I don't, and we'll get to that in a second. While I don't think he's equipped to handle this situation, I want him to win, quote unquote, in this situation, because it would be good for the game of the NBA and the league if players don't have complete and utter control over everything. Sign a contract. I don't want to play it. Nah, I'm good. I'm out. I don't like the GM anymore. I'm out. I'm not playing. Trade me or else. Dame Lillard, trade me to this team and this team only, or else. Well, then why didn't you sign there? You know, like it's becoming out of control. And I was talking with one of my employees the other day, LJ, and you know, we're sitting there and we're talking. I asked him, like, what do you think? He's like, I don't even care anymore. I love basketball, but I don't even care about my Sixers anymore. Like, I just can't. I can't. And I'm sitting there thinking about how he was so frustrated, how he just doesn't care about his Sixers anymore. And I'm like, man, I kind of am almost in the same situation. We got the reigning MVP. We sat through, you know, half a decade of purposely losing to get to this point. And I don't even care anymore. I watched almost every single Sixers game during that 10-win season years back. Almost every single game. So I knew there was a point to it all. And now, I think I'd rather watch that team. At least they cared about the game of basketball. They cared about the city. Right now, this team is so disconnected from the fan base because of what's going on with Joel Embiid or James Harden, and maybe eventually with Joel Embiid. It's frustrating. I hope he loves China too. I hope he stays in China, honestly. If the players have too much power, just change the CBA. All players have 1-year maximum contracts. That means every player has to play hard every season. Well, I don't think you can do that. I mean, I like the thought process, but it ain't the way it's gonna go out. That would never happen in sports. But you got to change something. Teams need to have a fun with each other where they can eat contracts and not have it penalize them for years. Yeah, didn't they have like when one of the recent amnesty, you know, or CBAs changed? They had the amnesty clause. They gave you 2 players after the last major lockout or whatever, and that's when we were able to amnesty and get out of Elton Brand and Andre Iguodala's contract before the process even started. They should do that all the time. Like, here's the thing: like, I want the NBA to investigate because I think it's going to come out that James Harden is in the wrong here, and if James Harden decides to sit out, maybe the NBA could do something favorable for the Sixers. Just let us get out of his contract, you know, without any penalties. Maybe they say he's the one in void, but the league always takes the player. I mean, look, Ben Simmons through all that drama, which seems like ages ago now. Pretty sure he got paid his whole contract, even though he refused to play for the Sixers. He had a back problem or mental struggles or whatever it may be. Not knocking mental struggles. Bonus code, dude. We started at like 8:02. You're late by 5 minutes, man. Chatter. Got to get those notifications on. Yeah, I like the Mista suggestion as well, but it's just not realistic. And again, it just goes to show we're sitting here talking Sixers for 10 minutes, and all I keep thinking about is that we're less than 2 months out from the season, and I could care less. Like, I really can. Like, I don't like all I care right now about. I care more about the Phillies season. And that's saying something. Like, I love my Phillies. You all know that. But the Phillies frustrate the hell out of me. I care more about that than this Sixers season. I care more about the Flyers rebuild right now than I do about the Sixers season. I care about Mad Chatter's Buffalo Bills upcoming season more than the Sixers season. Heck, I may start watching college basketball again. I haven't watched college basketball religiously in years. I might because of the Sixers. You have a headache. Like, I literally, like, I wanted to talk some Sixers today, and I'm going to leave it on the table to talk about. And I have a few points I do want to get out on this. But yeah, I mean, my head is already spinning, Tyrone. Like I had like an idea in my head how this show would go, but not 10 minutes in, I'm already like, what the hell? I'm going to say this, and then we're going to talk little Eagles, and we'll get back to the Sixers later on, maybe. Should Daryl Morey be fired or relieved of his duty or asked to resign? Because while this is not all his fault, and while I think James Harden is a lot to blame here, can we trust Daryl Morey to get us out of this situation? I'm going to throw that question there. Because as a huge Sixers fan, and this is how exactly, I don't know. It's frustrating. Let's just jump to talking some birds. All right, let's get to the birds here for a little bit here. I'm okay with the Sixers cleaning out the house. That includes Josh Harris has got to sell, and that's a good segue to football because Josh Harris might not even know half of what's going on because he's so focused on his football team now. He don't even care about his basketball team. He owns a basketball team. He owns a hockey team. He don't care about any of it. Why? Because he's now a football owner, and that's every sports owner. All they care about at some point is becoming a football owner. That's all it really matters. Let's own other sports teams till we have enough money to buy a football team. Sixers have been the most frustrating Philly franchise of the last 10 seasons. I've been in and out. I mean, the most frustrating team. I mean, the Eagles always will be the most frustrating team, because they don't win a Super Bowl every year. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I would say the Sixers have been the most frustrating team since Iverson left town. Phil does it better. Hashtag the beard while the beard still's there. It sucks that this team has to trust Morey or Harden to get a exactly, and that's why I want to bring to the table the idea: does Daryl Morey need to be let go? Can we trust Daryl Morey to resolve this? Adam Silver is losing control of the NBA. He should get fired. Look, I won't disagree. The fact that he stepped in and said that we had to fire Sam Hinkie to begin with because he didn't like the process, even though the process is going on amongst many other teams. Oklahoma City's done it. Nobody's questioned them because they didn't market it right and title it the right way and forcing us to get Colangelo in here, who ruined everything from the get-go. Adam Silver's a lot to blame. Well, Adam Silver can make up for some, not all, some of his mistakes with Philadelphia and this franchise by stepping in and kind of telling James Harden, yo, go play. You signed your contract, or we're going to have to do something about it. Myles Jack took one look at the Garage Eagles and said, look, we're going to get to Myles Jack in a second. Let me fire through a couple more comments here. Morey should have been fired when he didn't trade Simmons for pick and young potential. Yeah, I mean, the Tyler Halliburton deal will live in infamy as one of the worst deals never done. For sure. Daryl Morey should have never been hired in the first place. I haven't let my disdain for Daryl Morey or my calling him an overhyped, overrated GM president. People think I don't like Rob Thompson, Phillies manager. Well, I've been anti-Daryl Morey from second one. Like day one, second one, not a fan. I can't root for Harden. He's the kind of guy who is nasty. Look, he's a great basketball player, Daryl Morey. James Harden. I keep saying Daryl Morey, James Harden at the wrong time. James Harden's a great basketball player, one of the greatest scorers of all time. But he's a head case, and he just doesn't care. He cares about one person and one person only, and that person is James Harden himself. You can't. That rewards the player's bad faith acting. How do you have a situation with no likable participants? Exactly. That's the thing. Like, how can both parts be so wrong? And I don't want to see either win. Just let James Harden go. Find a way to amnesty him. Let the NBA just give us something for once, and just get rid of Daryl Morey. Look, and this, I keep saying I'm going to get to the Eagles here. This is about 8:15 when we start now, which is when we talk Eagles. So we'll get to Eagles here in a second. But when does Joel Embiid just say enough's enough? And Joel Embiid say, yo, I'm out. I can't take this dysfunction anymore. I love Philadelphia. I will support the fans forever and that city. But, man, I can't take this dysfunction. I've got a limited career. At some point, Joel Embiid's going to say that. You see rumors all over. He's at his peak value. He's the reigning MVP. At some point, it's going to happen. What is up, K1? Top of the morning to you. I saw your comments. I liked them. I know you missed the other show. but you still came in late and gave me the like and stuff like that in the comment. I appreciate that, my man. Elton, Morey, and Harris has to be the worst front office trio ever. Yeah, I mean, there was a point we didn't like Howie Roseman, so maybe they could turn it around, but I have no faith that they could turn it around. I had more faith in Howie Roseman turning it around, and he did. There was a point not long ago, 2, 3, 4 years ago, and George will vouch, that I was like, Howie Roseman is the worst. Get him. Hell, I think at the beginning of the 2021 Eagles season, I was still not a fully on board with Howie Roseman. NBA super low to players. Yeah, they are. The NBA is all about taking care of the players, 100%. Morey left the Rockets GM position to take a fake president job with the Sixers. Why is Morey making? He's basically Elton Brand is not. If I've said it actually for over a year now, Mister. That Elton Brand, if I was him, I would have asked out of Philly a long time ago. You're basically Daryl Morey's errand boy, coffee boy. You're basically what Howie Roseman was when Chip Kelly took over for 1 year. And maybe Elton Brand sees Morey's the writing on the wall and Morey's gone, and he'll take back over control. Maybe he'll do something positive. I don't know. Please, Joel, please just ask out now while you're still healthy. I could do without the passive-aggressive approach. I mean, if Joel asks out, just understand it's going to be dark days again in Philly. Yeah, you got Tyrese Maxey, young man there. The players will rule the day when China is not bankroll in the league. Hey, that's another whole topic there that we get into for hours upon hours. But you open up a big can of worms there with China, and Tyrone wants to talk football when he's doing it. All right, I'm going to leave the Sixers conversation on the table. If you want to put comments about the Sixers in the chat, I will address them. But Eagles roster beginning to take a little bit more shape this weekend. And I say that because here's my chart the other day that I had on with me of the players on the roster bubble and the players that I thought were locks to make the team. And we've started crossing some of these names out on the Eagles roster. And make sure we like this video. We got 8 likes on YouTube now, still only 1 on Facebook. How dark can the days be? Yeah, I mean, it could get really dark. Because at least with the process, we had a plan. Sam Hinkie was never allowed to see the plan through fruition. Then the process was rushed a little bit. Which is, it's still, I know. We just said Eagles, but I keep getting back to Sam Hinkie, and I feel so bad. Because I think he had a plan. And the NBA stepped in and took action when they didn't need to. They're not doing it with OKC. Oklahoma City has basically had like 57 draft picks in 2 years. 90% of the NBA draft picks go to the Oklahoma City Thunder because of trades they made. They stripped it down. Nobody got upset about that. And it bothers me. It's thumbs up free. Thumbs up are free. And it helps the channel, helps this show. More views, more commenters, algorithm grows. But anyway, Eagles. So we're starting to see this roster take shape. I've said it before, bring Hinkie back. Sure. Just guarantee him a chance. He has never been in the NBA again since then. I have 2 thumbs, but can only give 1 up to the stream. All right. I get that. That's true. 2 thumbs. Yeah, I got 2 thumbs. So the big news this weekend was one of the linebackers in contention to start for the Philadelphia Eagles, one Myles Jack, the bigger name that we brought in, the more well-known name, decided to retire this weekend. And it was kind of shocking. Like, I didn't know if Myles Jack was making this team. He was in my maybe list of linebackers to join me and become an algorithm bro. The algorithm is something. I don't know what an algorithm is, but I know it works. Sam Hinkie had a plan, but was terrible at drafting. 10 line. Yeah, he did make some mistakes. He did. That's where we're wrong. Hinkie didn't have a clue. Tanking for 5 years is not good for the league. He had to go. All right. I mean, he had a plan. And his plan did net us Jimmy Butler. His plan did net us Tobias Harris. His plan did net us James Harden. Those picks and constantly moving things around, we were able to build a team. Now, some of his draft picks stunk. Happy retirement to this year's Frank Gore. Now, at least Myles Jack, dressed in practice, played in a preseason game for the Eagles. But it was pretty shocking to me. So I think he was going to make the team. Maybe he saw he wasn't going to start. Maybe he realized he lost a step. Maybe his heart just wasn't in it. But I'm glad he did it now before preseason game 3, before we get too close to the season. Because now you start to see this linebacker core, which is one of the many hot topics, major, hot button issues, with this team. You got people that are very happy with it, people like me that are still concerned about the linebacker crew. You got Nakobe Dean, Josh Reddick, Nolan Smith, they're 3. Said it before, they keep 8. They may only keep 6 linebackers this year. Zach Cunningham seems to be the guy that's going to be starting. He ran with the ones all weekend in practice. He got the most work with the ones in the last preseason game. It looks like we are going to have a Nakobe Dean, Zach Cunningham starting linebacker core. Along with Dean and Reddick and Smith. You got Christian Ellis is making this team now without a shadow of a doubt. That makes, 5 guys. Then you got Nicholas Morrow as your 6th guy if he makes it. Howie Roseman still needs to make a move. I'm not a Nicholas Morrow guy. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think he's got anything positive to bring to the table. And this is the thing. I was having a chat with my man George, on Twitter yesterday. It's like this linebacker core that we're kind of happy with. But is this a linebacker core of a Super Bowl? Like when we look at these and who's making the team and who's not. And I know you can't have a superstar and $100 million player at every position. We are trying to win a Super Bowl. We are trying to repeat as NFC champions. Is having Christian Ellis and Nicholas Morrow both on our roster at a very weak position when you don't have any depth really what you want as a Super Bowl team? And that is something that I keep bringing to the table and keep thinking about, that Howie needs to make a move. Cunningham is locked down on linebacker spot. Pretty good there. He seems to have but he's not a guy that's played a lot. He gets hurt a lot. So my concern with Cunningham is if he goes down again, then all of a sudden you're back to Nicholas Morrow and Christian Ellis. Not good enough. Cunningham is a stud. Stud? Hold on a second. You're thinking of the same Zach Cunningham as you are? Let's bring up Zach Cunningham's stats here real quick on a side screen. I wasn't prepared for the term stud and Zach Cunningham, so let me pull this up. Last year he played 6 games and had 24 tackles. In 2021 he played 14 games, had 93. His last good year was 2020. And from 2018 to 2020 he was good. He really was. But he missed 3 games in 2021 and he missed 11 games last year. So I think he's a little bit removed from being a stud, Anthony. An algorithm is the blueprint to completing a puzzle. Now I'm confused even more. The puzzle is how to get the most. That's all. I don't care about views, but I do. Because I want more people to join the community. Not because I've got this big ego. I have an ego. Every YouTuber has an ego. But I want more people to find the show because I think what we do here is pretty fun. And I think it's something that Philadelphia Sports Talk needs. A place where everyone's opinion is well regarded and needed. Hinkie always picked the best player available because he could move them later. Well, Michael Carter-Williams, man, I had so much hype for Michael Carter-Williams. I thought he was going to be the best. The game evolves. There are players on every team that need a chance. I'm cool having one of the young players. Right, but Ellis and Morrow, that if something happened to Cunningham, it's just too many question marks. Look, I mean, as George pointed out in the Twitter to me the other day, Nakobe Dean, to an extent, is still a question mark. He's being hyped up as this elite guy because he came from Georgia, his pedigree. But he's proven very little so far. So we've got a very unproven linebacker core. Chiefs played rookies and second-year players last year, and they won a Super Bowl. Fair point, Marshawn. Very fair point. Led the league in tackles when healthy. But he's not been healthy for a few years now. That's all. Billy Cunningham is a stud. Great, absolutely. Did the Chiefs take a chance with their cornerbacks last year? They rolled the dice and it worked. When you got Patrick Mahomes and we got Jalen Hurts, I guess you can roll the dice in a few places, Tyron. I guess you got a fair point there. But it would be a position, and there's a couple. We're going to get into some of these other positions again today, again tomorrow. We got joint practice with the Colts tomorrow. We've got Eagles preseason game 3 on Thursday. And then we'll know what this roster's looking like. And we'll see. Howie Roseman traded for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson on the 20th last year. Today's the 21st. He hasn't made a move yet. And there are moves that need to be made. But the Zach Cunningham, or the Myles Jack news really kind of made the linebacker room take shape. And it's an interesting thing because who else is an algorithm bro with me? Let's go. I'm a stud and a Chad. I'm not a hanging Chad. It just kind of helps it take shape. And if you, like I said, so we've kept 8 linebackers last year, 7 the year before that, 6 in 2020, 6 in 2019. There's a legit scenario as we get to cornerback and safety talk here that the Myles Jack retirement makes the Eagles, if they don't make a move, only keep 6 linebackers. Dean, Reddick, Smith, Ellis, Morrow, Cunningham. Those 6, and that's it. And then that frees you up to keep a 7th cornerback. And eliminating 2 linebackers gives you that 7th cornerback and gives you that 4th running back. So that then you don't have to worry about cutting your 10th offensive lineman or cutting your 9th defensive lineman. Gives you a little flexibility there. And I think it's interesting because I think I would like, I don't want Morrow being our 6th linebacker. I'd like Howie to make another move, bring somebody in, whether it's a big splash play like Patrick Queen or something minor, someone with some experience. Now, not another Eric Wilson, but somebody a step up, somebody with some experience, another Myles Jack, just one that's not going to retire 2 weeks after we take him. Trade deadline isn't until late October. Howie's never done dealing. That's fair. Howie is never done making trades. Howie's never done improving this roster now or for the future. Howie's always got 3. Howie's got 3 thumbs, not 2. He's got one on the pulse of the team now, of next year, and the future. He's always thinking. And that just goes to show the difference between Howie Roseman and Daryl Morey. It's night and day, these 2 organizations. I really wish Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie be like, yo, let's save this city and go buy the Sixers too, because they could do it. That's what. At least you picked up on what I was saying. I wasn't sure if it was 2020 or 2000 or 2002, whatever year, but you know what I was talking about there. I'm good for very, very relevant references on this show. Oh man. But anyway, so keeping those 6 linebackers, you see the cornerback room start to take a little shape this weekend. Zach McPherson, obviously, was waived /IR, so he was cut. So first off, there are a lot of people that got upset that a lot of the injured players got waived or, put on waivers the other day. Well, that was just procedural. They'll clear waivers and they'll revert back to RIR. So McPherson goes to IR. Greedy Williams was cut pretty early, but it gives you a chance. We already said Greedy Williams might not make this team because of his contract, and now you're starting to take shape. Now, all of a sudden, instead of 5 guys on the bubble, you got your 4 starters or 4 main guys, 4 locks, Darius Slay, James Bradbury, Avonte Maddox, Kellen Ringo, were locks. Now you got Josh Joby, Josiah Scott, and Eli Ricks. That's 7 cornerbacks. All 7, and that's not counting the other dude that now I'm forgetting his name. Shoot, let me go back to my Eagles depth chart here. Eagles depth chart. I'm forgetting one guy's name. He stepped in for McPherson. They like him a lot. Hold on. Why did I lose this here? Why Goodrich, is that his name? Is Goodrich a name of a guy on the Eagles? Goodrich. Hold on. Where is it? Where is he on the depth chart here? Mario Goodrich. I got to add his name to the list here. So that's 8 guys. Goodrich. It's 8 guys. I freed up 2 spots on the linebacker group now. So now you can keep 7 or 8 cornerbacks and keep them all because of the linebacker situation. You don't have to worry about Eli Ricks going to the practice squad and get picked up by somebody else. Now you can keep 7 or 8 cornerbacks. Goodrich, Ricks, these guys could play special teams to fill in wherever a linebacker might play. It's a very interesting thing how this linebacker taking shape and then Greedy Williams getting cut and unfortunately Zach McPherson getting hurt kind of just played the linebacker and cornerback roster spots out. I almost feel like there's no jobs even up for grabs. I think it's between Goodrich and Ricks for the 7th spot, and if they keep 8, they all make the team. Over under how long before Joel Embiid asks out? Dude, it could be today that he asks out. It could be next week. It could be next year. I think he's going to wait to see what the NBA does with their investigation into this Morey Harden situation. And then depending on how that situation is resolved, look, we're about 2 months, first game of the season is like October 25th or 6th or something like that. So about 2 months from the start of the season. It wouldn't be surprising if it happens before the start of the season. But it probably doesn't happen until next year. Yeah, Goodrich, thank you. You know, I knew I'd figure it out. I couldn't remember his name, but I added him to the list. They seem to like him. Remember the linebacker really, yeah, you'll have time to see. Yeah, exactly. And I know. And Howie's great at these things and playing that waiver wire field. He's great at that. I get it. But I think if they bring in another linebacker, it just means maybe Nicholas Morrow goes to the practice squad or Nicholas Morrow just gets cut. He hasn't impressed at all in camp or in OTAs or in preseason games. And I like the idea of keeping that seventh cornerback because we're playing a lot of, Ringo, safety, Bradbury in the slot / linebacker. Even with the safeties, Terrell Edmonds sliding up to linebacker. You're playing a lot of flexibility amongst your defensive backs as a whole right now. So you can get away with that 6 linebacker instead of 7 or 8. And it's not unreal. They've done it before. At 19 and 20, they only kept 6 linebackers. So I think it's really interesting the way that this roster has taken shape and kind of played out. Also, obviously, punter, Legatron got cut and waived, which is insane because Aaron Sipos has been bad too. We've got the worst special teams in the league last year, or pretty close to the worst special teams. Hold on, we'll get to special teams in a second. Has Ben Van Summerum even played? Look, I didn't even know who he was till like 2 weeks ago. But it seems like he's turning a few heads in the last week or so that at the very least he'll be a practice squad guy. But I guess there's a chance, maybe an outside chance, he could impress in the joint practice tomorrow, impress in that third preseason game. He's going to get it. Look, Dean might not play on Thursday. I doubt any starters play on Thursday. So you might get at least a half of football of Ben Van Summerum. And I love, guys with like Van Summerum, the little almost hyphenated type, multi-syllable names. Like, it's a great name. 2 capital letters in his last name. Love the 2 capital letters in a name. Maybe he plays his way onto the special teams. That's where he's going to be. Those last 3 or 4 spots are going to be on special teams. Can you play special teams or not? Maybe Myles Jack retired because he knew he was going to be a fringe player, and he's just not ready to play special teams. He just can't do it. He doesn't want to do it, maybe. I don't know. You hope Joel asks out today? At least we would have a topic to talk about tomorrow on this show, right? I mean, we would be all Sixers tomorrow if that happened. Aaron Sipos, unofficially right now, the punter on this team. We love Ellis and Morrow and all these special teams guys that were special teams aces last year. Dude, we had some of the worst coverage teams in the league last year. Our punter was near the bottom of the league last year. Legatron did nothing. Like, Legatron was so bad he couldn't beat out Aaron Sipos as the punter. That's a problem. Eagles better be scouring the waiver wire for a punter right now. Because right now, punting and special teams scare me. You can lose games because of special teams. You can't win a Super Bowl week 1 because of a special teams mistake, but you can lose a game week 1 because of special teams mistakes. The fact we were talking about the last 3 or 4 spots on the strategy, and Anthony, and that's a fantastic point. Look, I said last week there were 15 open roster spots. I will ballpark it that we're probably down to about 8 open roster spots right now. I will, going into Thursday's preseason game with the Colts, I will say where I'll kind of finalize that and see where we're at. The way the league is going, linebacker is so de-emphasized, teams want the 220, 230 tweeners. Yeah, and that's why you keep maybe an extra safety, extra cornerback. You're starting to see with this change in philosophies of the defense with Sean Desai, you're seeing some more flexible things that Sean Desai is doing in practice. If Jonathan Gannon does it in the Super Bowl last year, we might win that Super Bowl. That's right, Aaron. Ariza. Yeah, I got you. Cough, cough. You can punt better. I don't know about that. I mean, there was a time where I can punt like 25, 30 yards. But, dude, I don't think I can get my leg up past my waist. Those punters, when they follow through, dude, there ain't no way my leg's bending far enough to be a punter. I'm just saying it right now. I like to think I'm this athlete or was this athlete. I never was an athlete. I never am an athlete. I never will be an athlete. It is so fun. Even punting, I don't even call punters athletes, and I'm not an athlete. They're better athletes than me. But I think Anthony's point here, is very fair. Yeah, we're talking about who's the sixth linebacker, seventh linebacker. Should Howie bring in some depth? We're talking about the punter. But also on the flip side, and I think it's a fair point, like it was brought up to me on Twitter this week, we aren't a team. We are not the Dallas Cowboys. We're not the Minnesota Vikings. Oh, Tyrone, we're going to get to wide receiver in a second. Let me finish this point. I think there's as big of an issue at wide receiver as anything. But I think we're not a team that's a playoff contender that maybe if we get lucky and the ball bounces our way, maybe we make a Super Bowl run. We're the defending NFC champions. We are this close. We're a pair of white gloves on James Bradbury away from winning the Super Bowl. So I don't want question marks at any position. I just don't. I want to have definitive confidence that if Nakobe Dean goes down, the person stepping up, I'm confident. If Reed Blankenship goes down, that the guy stepping in, I'm confident. If at wide receiver, as Tyrone says, if A.J. Brown goes down, the person stepping in, I'm confident, can fill the role. I know you can't have a superstar and a $100 million player at every position, but I want confidence. And at linebacker right now, I'm not confident. And if I'm confident in Dean, Reddick, Smith, Cunningham, but Cunningham has an injury history the last 2 years. Cunningham goes down. Are you confident in Ellis starting 4 games? I wouldn't be. And I think if you are, you're just lying to yourself to an extent. Something happens to A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. What is even going on at wide receiver? You've got the best duo or one of the best duos at wide receiver in the NFL. But you got Quez Watkins. You got Zaladeus, or however you say his name. You got Britton Covey. You got Nagata. Quez Watkins and Covey haven't practiced since like the first day. Britton Covey is just a really small special teams guy and average at special teams. OZ, at least he's back already practicing. Quez hasn't practiced in 3 weeks. Covey hasn't done before Cleveland got hurt, and unfortunately Cleveland's probably out for the year, or at least out for the first half of the year. He could have maybe beaten out Britton Covey for the 5th wide receiver spot. If I'm Howie, I'm calling Jarvis Landry's agent and being like, yo, at least you want to work out for a week or two? See if you got anything that could help this team? I am really concerned about the depth at wide receiver. Yes, Brown, Smitty, Goddard, Swift, Gainwell, that core of offensive weapons is amazing. Excellent. For sure. But what if? Smitty hasn't gotten hurt yet, and that's the only word coming out of college was he was going to be injury prone because of his size. He's one hard hit away. A.J. Brown had some injury issues with Tennessee. Unfortunately, that's not feasible. The cap precludes that. You have to take chances on certain positions. That's why the truly great GMs separate themselves. I agree. But you also, if you bring in injury-prone players, you've got to have a plan. You've got to balance youth and veterans and exciting players with backups. You got to find a way. You got to find guys like Jarvis Landry or, fantastic name, Kenny Galladay, who have had some missteps in their career that you could get on cheap. Like Kenny Galladay, he's not that far removed from being a breakout star on the Detroit Lions a few years back. Like, I'm not saying he's the guy I want, but I think it's a great example of a guy that had all this hype, got traded, fell off for one reason or another, that's still young enough to prove himself. You get him on a cheap one-year deal. You at least bring him into camp to push some of these other guys. And if he earns a spot, great. If he doesn't, It was a cheap 1-year deal, just like the Greedy Williams deal, just like the Rashad Penny deal. Deals that are like Howie Roseman's done a great job bringing in cuttable contracts if they don't make the team. Howie needs to do that at linebacker and wide receiver still, in my opinion. KJ Hamler, there's an interesting name. These are some names. Kenny Galladay and KJ Hamler and Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry's a little older, isn't he? I mean, I feel like he's older. Feel like he's been in the league for 1,000 years. I'm not sure if he has been or not, but I feel like it's been close to 1,000 years. Galladay had a serious injury that the Giants GM ignored. He will never be what he was. That's very possible, William. Very possible. But we've got to find somebody. And I'm really surprised at wide receiver specifically that Howie hasn't brought someone in yet, considering Quez and Covey have missed so much time in camp. Even just camp bodies. That just goes to show that they had so much hope with Cleveland and Nagata. Now, maybe Nagata's that guy. Cool, let's make the trainers the most important element. Keeping guys. Hey, my man Talking 215's working at the complex as a trainer occasionally. Yeah. Landry's 31. I feel like he should be 38. I feel like that should say 38 and that's a typo. K1. Look, I'm not saying these guys are going to put us over the top. You're only winning the Super Bowl if A.J. Brown and Smitty are healthy most of the year. You're only repeating as NFC champions if we stay relatively healthy like last year. But depth is always an issue. Does Greg Ward, at this point, in my opinion, after Brown, Smitty, Quez and OZ, even though Quez isn't practice, like I think Britton Covey's spot could be on the bubble because he's been out for so long, but it's borderline. But Quez, even though he has a practice, he's making this roster. OZ is making this roster. I think there's a slim chance that if Covey can't get healthy soon, he gets put on the PUP list or the 8-week IR or injured reserves or whatever, and Greg Ward makes this team right now, which is crazy. Like, Greg Ward's Mr. Reliable. He's a great veteran to have around. You could do much worse than Greg Ward, but Greg Ward, to me, because he's so reliable, is a guy that might make this team right now. I believe Quez and OZ are good enough to hold down the fort if Brown just miss a few games. Right, okay. Brown, just hypothetically speaking, A.J. Brown goes down. Who's playing that big body? Neither. OZ's a little bit bigger than Quez, I think. I don't know. I'd feel better. I'd feel they can hold down the Smitty spot, maybe, but Greg Ward might make this team. Because at least you would have a veteran that's been there that can catch passes. OZ is a true slot. I actually love OZ. I think the addition of OZ is being compared too much to Zach Pascal and not enough to how talented OZ could be. He's super fast. He runs great routes. Hell, he had 40 catches last year on a bad Falcons team. Make sure we're hitting the like button. We got 12 likes on YouTube, 3 on Facebook now. Got a lot of people. We just passed 25 people watching, and of course it drops as soon as I say that. Make sure you pound that like button, guys, for me. I greatly appreciate it. I think OZ K1 is being severely undervalued. That there was a point when he first came onto this team that I thought he could push Quez Watkins for that number 3 wide receiver spot. Not because of the mistakes Quez Watkins makes, but because OZ is a talented wide receiver. And taking him away from the Falcons and that disaster, and then putting him in Philly with Jalen Hurts, the man who is him, big difference. Patrick Queen time. Common Howie. Get him here. I thought you were going to say that there's breaking news that I missed that he's already been traded for. I love breaking news when it happens mid-show. It's always fantastic. Greg Ward has been the best wide receiver in the 2 preseason games. He has. He has shown why he's Mr. Reliable. And I honestly, years past, I used to make a lot of Quez Watkins jokes, or Greg Ward jokes. It's just fun. But honestly, he should make this team. Finally, it only took 45 minutes for someone to bring up the Marcus Mariota conversation. Hell, I think we spent an hour on Friday talking Marcus Mariota and Tanner McKee. And I will say something. I thought OZ was taller than I thought. For some reason, K1, I thought he was 6 foot. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else, but I really thought OZ was 6 foot. But man, that's really small. But still, he still does. He's still a very good wide receiver. I'm just going to say that. Marcus Mariota, Tanner McKee. You guys know I'm the relax. Marcus Mariota is the number 2 guy. And Marcus Mariota is the number 2 guy. But I saw somebody say something on Twitter. So it's not mine. I don't know who it was. I forget. And it was directed at us Marcus Mariota people. Okay? That he's still a quarterback too. And he still is because of the money. It's like $5-6 million cap hit if you cut him. So he's going to be he's going to be on this team almost likely. Unless somebody gets hurt somewhere on another team and somebody trades for Marcus Mariota to be a fill-in starter, Mariota's making this team. But what is preseason and training camp for? For rookies and unknowns to prove themselves and earn a role. And Tanner McKee has earned that role. That kind of got me thinking, it's a fair point. So maybe Tanner McKee has a better chance than I give him credit for. Well, bro, if we have a backup playing something time, the season is. I agree. I mean, if any stars miss, you can survive with. We survived with Lane Johnson going down. We lose games, but whatever. When who was it? Dallas Goedert. I think we're like 4-0 last year in the games he missed, 5-0, something like that, or 4-1. You can survive with certain players going down. But if A.J. Brown misses 8 weeks, it's not good. If Jalen Hurts misses 10 weeks, it's not good. It's a problem for sure. Yeah, I understand what you're saying there. I think we're overthinking this. If you stop and think about how fragile we all are physically, we wouldn't leave the house. Let's line up and roll the dice. Have faith in the coaches, Tyrone, right? To get these guys ready. Have faith in the system and have faith as long as Jalen Hurts is out there that he will elevate everybody. Isn't that what we think about? Isn't one of the keys to being a great quarterback that you elevate the talent around you? I mean, it's possible. Carpe diem. That is right. That's my Latin for the day. There was breaking news. Boss walked by my office, and he thought you were working hard. You're like the George Costanza. Matt Chatter's like the George Costanza wherever he works. He just looks like he's working hard when he makes a face and looks at his book, but he's really just listening to us. I think the Matt Chatter's the George Costanza of the Core 12. What is up, John? How you doing? I'd feel a lot better if we had another wide receiver, linebacker, kick return, tight end. That's asking a lot. John, I'll pose this, guys. Pose John's comment as a question. We talk linebacker depth, wide receiver depth, punter depth, tight end depth. If you can only improve the depth at one position, where are we improving it? Mariota still stinks, of course. Algorithm, bro. Algorithms. I honestly don't want to get excited for anything Philly sports. It's always a letdown. I mean, losing the Super Bowl is a letdown. But I don't think it's wrong to get excited. And I'm going to write this down because I think it could somehow be worked into a title for tomorrow's show. Should we get excited? Should we be excited for this season? And I think you've got to enjoy it. What's the point of being a sports fan, Marshawn, if you're not enjoying when there's good? And this Eagles team is great. And yes, we're talking like somebody said earlier, we're talking about the 6th linebacker, the punter. We're talking about the 5th and 6th wide receiver. We're lucky to be in this situation. It's okay. Look, being a super fan, part of it is accepting that you're going to be let down sometimes. And this Eagles team is primed to, outside of not winning the Super Bowl every year, not let us. This Eagles team's not going to go 4-13. This Eagles team's not going to miss the playoffs. This Eagles team is set for a long stretch. Now, we might have a Super Bowl letdown or an NFC Championship game letdown at some point. But like I've said before, if Jalen Hurts and this Eagles team, as set right now, doesn't make 3 Super Bowls over the next 6 years, that's a disappointment. That's how talented it's set up. Hassan Reddick rules give teams a free player every week, not worried about the quarterback position. Hell, we could still beat teams down running the ball. That's fair. I mean, with this offensive line, anybody could run the ball behind this offensive line. Do you see running back? Do you think Rashad Penny makes this team now? Trey Sermon's now missed he missed both practices this week, and he had a big fumble, bounced back from the fumble in the preseason game, but then goes and misses 2 practices. that gives Hassan Reddick or Rashad Penny kind of leg up on this. And I said it before, but I'll say it now. Boston Scott seems to be a lock now to make this team. My man ESP, you guys love ESP. I know he's your favorite Eagles beat reporter, ESP. Gave the breakdown of the running back touches. Scott's a lock to make this team at running back. I just leave my car at the office. Boss thinks I'm last to leave. That's right. Great Seinfeld. Until too many tickets pile up on it and the bird poop starts dropping on it, then you got to have one of your friends move it for you. Make it look different. They don't call it Negadelphia for nothing. Look, I'm a big proponent of losing that image of Negadelphia, awful fans. I think we get a bad rap as fans. I do. I want the reputation of Philadelphia sports fans to change. I do. That's why just let yourself in, Marshawn. Let yourself in and let yourself be open to disappointment. It's more fun if you get excited. Wide receiver, you're right, Phil. Smith or Brown goes down. We're in trouble. Yeah, I mean, we're in trouble with a lot of these positions if somebody goes down. I would almost say I'm more concerned about linebacker depth than wide receiver, John, just because we don't have the depth behind Brown and Smitty, but we know Brown and Smitty are the real deal. Dean and Cunningham a starter, is injury prone. Dean's an unknown. And your backups in Ellis and Morrow right now are unproven. Like, we don't know anything about this linebacker core, like how they're going to perform. We have ideas, but we have zero for sure there. And that's the thing. Marshawn, you are one of the algorithm bros. It's the Core 12. I prefer to call it the Core 12. We had 3 shots to win a Major Sports Championship, and we really came away with nothing. Well, we were in 3 title games, and we had a 4th chance with the Sixers, and we came away with nothing. Nothing. But we have a chance at winning a Super Bowl again this year. We're going to make the playoffs in baseball again. We've got more chances. Let yourself in. It's what it is. You got it. What better thing would there be than setting yourself up for the disappointment? Pound that like button for sure. We've only got 12 likes. 4 on Facebook and 12 on YouTube. Not good enough. Not good enough. Pound that like button. Gainwell Swift and Scott all make the team. Absolutely. And then the 4th is either Penny or Sermon. And I thought Sermon was going to be that 4th guy. But a fumble and then missing two practices, he better be ready to practice in the joint practice on Tuesday, or Penny's going to be really pushing himself to that practice squad again. We got back to the Sixers here with my man, Mr. Drew, Uncle Drew. He's not really my uncle. He's just a guy, Drew. I just like the name Uncle Drew. They're in trouble. And I don't see a path out of it, Drew. I see more downtime and darkness than positive. I just said how we got to be more positive as Sixers, as Philly fans. And then the Sixers come up and I'm like, no, let's be negative. Yeah, he's something, ESP. I know you guys love him so much. We had a fantastic run last year. It was fun, except for the last 5 minutes of the Super Bowl. Exactly, Tyrone. I will take that disappointment because we were this close. And it wasn't like, yeah, you could say the field was wet or Bradbury shouldn't have been called for that holding penalty or whatever. But we got beat by a top 5 quarterback of all time in Patrick Mahomes and a top 5 coach of all time in Andy Reid. It's not like we lost to some fringe team that, like, when the Giants were the last wild card team and made a march to the Super Bowl. It's not like that. We lost to one of the greatest teams of all time, led by 2 of the greatest player coach, probably the second or third best quarterback coach combo in the history of football. It happens. I'll take that every year. Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. And on top of that, the Stars, that's true. That's the 4th team that made a championship game in 2022. Forgot about the Stars. I'm surprised Matt Chatter didn't chime in with that because he's all about his Philadelphia Stars. 70 years ago, our grandfathers threw snowballs. No, one person threw snowballs at one Santa Claus that was drunk. And we're the worst fans forever. Anthony, got to go to work. What? You just work. You just work while you're listening. You just keep it on your earpiece. You can plug in YouTube into your car and listen on the ride to work. It never stops, Anthony. But I appreciate you, man, for tuning in and back at it for 2 episodes in a row. Core 12, is that like the Bilderbergs? I don't even know what that is. That one went right over the head there, K1, for sure. Funny thing is, with the Sixers, is that Maxey isn't under contract. I know. They did that to keep flexibility. And then the whole James Harden situation unfolded. The Sixers literally take my positivity is a 10, and then the Sixers come up, and I'm a 4. And I'll be a 1 when Joel Embiid asks out. I'm okay. I'm positive the Sixers. I'm positive they're screwed too, William. I don't know. We got 20 people watching on YouTube, 25 overall. Not enough people are hitting that like button, man. We helped that algorithm. Look, the Sixers, James Harden, Daryl Morey, I need the league to say. So back to this. What we should have here. The NBA is going to investigate, but it needs to happen fast. The NBA is going to have to hire an outside, person, somebody that's, unattached to the situation, person to kind of step in, a mediator. Because right now, Morey's holding firm and Harden's holding firm. And it's a disaster. So we need an outside mediator to step in and find a resolvable situation. Top 5 big stage defensive coordinator is Spags. Dude just calls the best game in big games. Look, again, so that's why I'm not even worried about losing the Super Bowl. Plus the way the team's set up, Marshawn, I'm opening my emotions up for disappointment. I know. But you know what? I think they're well-positioned emotions because we have such a damn good chance. Drunk Santa had it coming. Just like J.D. Drew had it coming with the battery. Is Sean Lendenis? I don't know. We need a punter. We definitely need a punter for sure. Okay, everyone's got to go to work. So do I. I got 30 minutes left on this show, though. But anybody leaving for work, have a great day. Focused on Eagles and Phils until this joke of an offseason for the Sixers. Devin, thank you for the comment. And yes, the Phils don't get enough love. And I wanted to come on here and be positive about the Phillies too. But then I was doing some check-in. They have lost 5 of their last 7 games. Trea Turner's bust out of his slump, but they have lost 5 of 7. 2 brutal losses against the Nationals this weekend, Devin. But they're still going to make the playoffs. Playoffs? Yeah, they are. And the Eagles, the Eagles are great. So let's keep our focus on the positivity. Work from home is the best. I wish I could just do this for work and work from home. I would have this a 2-hour show every day, and then I'd come over and do the afternoon drive time too. Something I put out there in the I don't know if anybody reads the bottom scroll. I did put it in the scroll today, and I'm going to leave it up there. We're getting close to fantasy football drafts. If you ever have any fantasy football questions, I would love you to post them in the comments section of these shows, and I will answer your fantasy football questions as well. I like to think of myself as a pretty damn good fantasy football player. Won a lot of leagues, had a lot of undefeated seasons. So put those comments in the comments section, even though I finished in second place because Peanut's a cheater. If you're watching Peanut, just so you know, I just call you the cheater that you are. He's not really a cheater. My own mistakes. But put those fantasy football questions in the comments section. From now through the rest of the start of the season, I will answer them for you guys all the time. Imagine the NBA takes away our last few first-round picks. Burn it down. The NBA can't do it. Really, the NBA is investigating the situation. But what can the NBA really do? They can't take more picks away because we won't trade James Harden. If that literally happens, that we lose picks in this whole James Harden fiasco, I will literally never watch the NBA again. I don't know what we'll talk about during the football offseason when the Sixers are playing, but I won't talk the NBA if we lose picks because of this. It's ridiculous. They just need to step in, get an independent moderator to do something here. If anything, James Harden needs to be the one fined in this situation. But then Daryl Morey still needs to be kicked to the curb because of the way he has done things. Philly's biggest kryptonite on offense is solid pitching. Philly's biggest kryptonite is that they're just so inconsistent. They are. Phillies are so inconsistent. It is what it is. Mentioning the BB group in the chat does not help the algorithm. I'm a positive way. Yeah, I love my baseball. Not a surprise Morey is a liar. He's the architect of the process Hinkie brought to Philly. That's a fair point. But what did he do? Did he lie? Or did he say, yeah, after the season, we'll try to give you a big contract, and then Harden comes up small and he can't give him the big contract? If you're James Harden, you don't like Daryl Morey not giving you what he supposedly told you he would give you, then you shouldn't have come up so small in Game 6 and 7. I have not done many auction drafts, mostly sneak drafts. I'm getting big into best ball drafts. I did one as a test last year, and I've got a whole bunch already done this year. I'm big into those. But normally I do redrafts, best ball, auctions. I just haven't really done enough of them to really understand it. What's up, Kyle? How you doing this morning? What do you recommend is the best resource for fantasy in 3 leagues, all very different scoring? 1 dynasty, 1 with 2 keepers, 1 traditional. You know, your best research and your resource is me. I hate to break it to you. That's the best source. No, I would definitely, Kyle, my best piece of advice is the first couple rounds are going to play out how the first couple rounds play out. You're always going to have Justin Jefferson, Christian McCaffrey. You're going to have the same guys going within a pick or two. So, you kind of just got to find out your position, go where it is. Your best way is to find your sleepers and grab them before anybody else. Even if you have to beat, their average draft value. Like, I always go back to my last undefeated season in fantasy football was in like 2009. But I had a run where I was going undefeated. I drafted Arian Foster. He was my sleeper breakout character, guy that year. He was average draft slot that year he broke out was like the 14th, 15th round. I drafted him in the 9th round. He ended up starting every single game for me and carrying me undefeated. Peyton Hillis wasn't getting drafted that year. And that was his breakout year. I drafted him with my last pick in the draft. Finding guys that you like and just beating everybody to the punch. Guys that are going to break out. You have to beat people to the punch on guys that break out. You have to. That is the biggest piece of information I can give you strategy-wise. Phil, our starting pitching isn't good enough for the playoffs. Our starting pitching is not good enough for the playoffs. I mean, Ranger Suarez now in the IL with a hamstring. I hate hamstring issues in sports. They just linger. Hell, Quez Watkins, Britton Covey can't get back on the practice field. Don't be the I won't watch the NFL guy. None of us. Yeah, I mean, I'll watch the NFL no matter what. But the Sixers, I don't know. We love the Philly Stars. Yeah, Phillies were too focused on the Giants series. They might have been looking ahead, which is a problem. So for the love of Paul, start a Discord. Oh my God, you in this damn Discord. You're gonna be the only one in it talking. Everyone gets enough of you in these comments today. They don't want to hear from you all day long. Auctions are fun, have much more strategy. They do. I only did it once, and I just didn't. I don't think I understood what I was doing. Like, I didn't do any research on the difference, and then I ended up with a really terrible team and not doing very well. Why do these guys think things should be laid out for them? What happened to looking at yourself and saying, I need to do this for us to win? Looking at you. It's these egos, man. The egos on these athletes. We're at 9:07. We got 23 minutes left. Keep those comments rolling. We're up to 18 likes. Wow. YouTube really took a big jump. 5 on Facebook. Thank you. You pound that like button. The egos on these basketball players. But see, the thing is, Tyrone, James Harden thinks he can get away with it. Dame Lillard thinks he can get away with it. Why? Because the precedent has been set. When Ben Simmons chose to sit out, and then the league told him, well, you got to pay him still. Like, seriously. Like, the league, the NBA, has taken the play. And now, on the flip side, the NFL takes the owner's side on everything as well. There's 2 different ends of the expect. There's no common ground in these leagues. The league has already said the players win everything they do, Tyrone. They do. And that's just the problem. The problem is that the players get away with murder. Well, not physically. They don't really get away with murder. I don't need a ding on YouTube because I used the word murder or anything like that. No. It's just, come on now. Just a reminder, I don't like how cuts are not in stages. Since Bill, we'll see how that plays out. This is going to be the first one. Anyone else want a Discord? Nobody else wants a Discord. I'm going to start one. I've just had a very busy weekend. I saw a clip of James Jones saying Justin Fields is better than I watched that whole clip 3 times. And I saw somebody quote tweet it, be like, James Jones owns Shady McCoy in it. Dude, I get what he's saying. Justin Fields does not have A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. And he rushed for 400 more yards than him. Dude, Justin Fields, everyone is assuming Justin Fields is going to have the same breakout that Jalen Hurts had last year. It's a load of crap. He has done nothing. Nothing yet. And no Ohio State quarterback has done anything yet. I'm not buying it. Justin Fields is a great fantasy quarterback if you want to draft him because of his rushing and touchdown ability. But Justin Fields, as a viable franchise quarterback, dude, if people are still not sold on Jalen Hurts, and I know there's people that are still not sold on Jalen Hurts, how can those same people be sold on Justin Fields? They're ridiculous. It blows my mind. Justin Fields has done nothing compared to what Jalen Hurts has done. I don't care about the team around him. I don't. Are you going to say Patrick Mahomes isn't that great because he's got Travis Kelce, one of the best tight ends in the history of football? No. Or do people take away Tom Brady's 50 touchdown season because Randy Moss was there? No. Do people say Joe Montana sucks because he had Jerry Rice? No. Behind every great quarterback is a great wide receiver. Behind every great running back is a great offensive line. Get that out of here. Till Justin Fields proves it. If you're not sold on Jalen Hurts after last year, but you think Justin Fields, and this is directed at James Jones, if you think that, you are very questionable in knowledge on football. NBA is beholden to its stars, and it's not good. Something's got to change. I don't know if Fields is mid. Fields has potential. But to say that he's better than Jalen Hurts already? Get out of here. Just because Jalen Hurts has stars and Justin Fields doesn't? I mean, did they trade for stud in the making Chase Claypool last year? And Chase Claypool disappeared. Don't great quarterbacks elevate their wide receivers? Yeah. James Jones, nah, get out of here. I don't trust the lawyers that run the NBA either. They probably lying about the league revenue. I don't feel sorry for them. Yeah, okay. All right. I get that. That's a possibility, mister. I think you bring up a fair point. But just the way the league lets the players say, nah, don't feel like playing. I'm going to get paid whether I play or not, and I'm going to force my way to where I want. That's it. And that I don't like. Justin Fields is so Middle Earth. He is. Does he have the chance to dethrone Aragon as king of Rivendell or where the hell he was? No, that was wrong. That's the Elvish place. I don't even know. Trying too hard to make a Middle Earth reference. Totally botched it there, Marshawn. But he's got the potential. He's just not done anything yet. James Jones really said he has never seen Hurts with a throw that was good. That's ridiculous. Jalen Hurts, for as much criticism as he gets, is actually a really good deep ball thrower. He's up there. You look at the stats in the rankings, he's up there. Now, it helps to have 8 foot tall, 400-pound, stronger than everybody, A.J. Brown that can just out-muscle everybody. But you know what? You can't take that away from him. Hurts is great. Hurts is second best quarterback in the NFL. Fields could crack the top 10 next year. Everybody's ready to give Justin Fields all this hype, yet nobody's willing to give Lamar Jackson any hype. Lamar Jackson at least has won an MVP. Lamar Jackson has less talent than Justin Fields around him. At least he does have Mark Andrews, but hell, Lamar Jackson turned Mark Andrews into a top 5 tight end in football. Justin Fields ain't elevating anybody. What's the system in Chicago? Systems make teams. Nick tailored his system to take advantage of. Exactly. Chicago, Tyrone? Maybe they're turning a corner. Maybe not. But we're 2021. Wasn't that long ago. It was a disaster. Look, I don't want to make this about Justin Fields being a bad quarterback because he's not a bad quarterback. But man, those James Jones comments, I saw them. I forgot about them. I thank you for bringing them up. But man, makes no sense. Devin saying, I think Jalen Hurts knows he needs to get that Super Bowl to shut the fools up. Nah. Devin, I actually disagree with you. A, he shouldn't have to. First and foremost, he shouldn't have to prove anything else. Okay? Secondly, If he wins that Super Bowl, they're going to say, well, he's got A.J. Brown. He's a system quarterback. They've got a great defense, or he's got the best wide receiver duo in football, or he's got 3 Hall of Famers on his offensive line. They will continue, Devin. There's something about Jalen Hurts. The fact that he has no drama. The fact that he just keeps working. The fact that he's in the lab cooking every day. People just don't like him. The fact that he's been kicked aside and knocked down 100 times. And he keeps getting up. People don't like that. People expect drama in Philly. But he doesn't buy into it. And so I don't care how many Super Bowls he wins. He will continue. He could win the next 3 Super Bowls, Devin, in my opinion, and people would still find room to criticize him. They would. By the way, did you see his stats from my man ESP? Sunday's practice, 21 of 24, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. If you care about practice stats, I love it. How come Burrow never gets any flack for the team he has? And the why? Exactly. Like, it's not like Joe Burrow isn't thrown to a top 3 wide receiver in football. Right? He doesn't have as good of an offensive line. He's got Joe Mixon, a great running back. Come on now. Justin Fields struggled to pass against us last season. Every good quarterback put up good numbers against us last season. What does that say? Look, again, not trying to say Justin Fields is not going to become a good quarterback. But to say he's better than Jalen Hurts is just obvious. Clickbait, hate. I have an agenda. I don't like the guy. Something's there. I don't know. Josh Allen and Hurts pinpoint accuracy. Jalen Hurts is just a leader, man. Why do you... Thanks, K1. I don't hate Justin Fields. I know. Everybody's going to take it the wrong way. I don't hate Justin Fields. I really don't. I'll target him in fantasy football at the right round. But I'm not going to say that he's better than Jalen Hurts. And nobody should. At any aspect of his game, if you say that, you're just a hater. They need to be forgotten. Who needs to be forgotten? Somebody needs to be forgotten. I don't think they hate it. I don't hate anybody. I'm an anti-Justinian. It's a great word there, Justinian. I'm an anti-Justinian. Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not a Justinian. I don't hate you, man, chatter. I hate the XFL and the USFL talk because it's boring and bad football. I say Joe Burrow is a fraud literally every day in the chat. I don't think I've ever seen you say Joe Burrow is a fraud. I really think that's the first time you said that. And he's not a fraud. Not at all. He's so powerful. He made the guy who took the picture of the lock screen disappear. Look, Jalen Hurts is him. He is. He walks on water in my mind. And maybe I'm a little over-biased on Jalen Hurts. But anybody that puts Justin Fields ahead of Jalen Hurts has an agenda that they're trying to meet. Devin, fantastic comment right here. And you know what? We talk about this all the time. And this goes back to the Marcus Mariota conversation with Tanner McKee. Marcus Mariota does not have those intangibles either. You want that? That's why I was at Gardner Minshew. I know Gardner Minshew went 0-2 last year. But Gardner Minshew inspired that huddle. People believed in him that he was capable in that pinch. Nobody has. Marcus Mariota doesn't. Justin Fields does not, or at least hasn't proven. Justin Fields hasn't proven that he has those intangibles. When has Justin Fields put a team on his back and just said, let's go? These Hurts haters are all over the place. First, they say he was everything. He needs, and the team is better than they. Yeah. Look, Jalen Hurts is going to have his haters pretty much forever, I think. It doesn't matter what he does. He'll be accepting his bust into Cooperstown. Not Cooperstown. Oops, wrong sport. Into the Hall of Fame, Canton. He'll be getting his bust and his gold jack into Canton. And people will still say, well, he wasn't as good as people think. That's the agenda. And some of it, there's some reasons for some I'm not going to get into. Others, they just made an opinion on him when he first came out of college or when he was at Alabama, and they just don't want to admit they're wrong. And that's the key thing. Whether you're on ESPN or whether you're on the smallest of podcast channels, it is okay as a commentator on sports, as a person that discusses sports for fun or for a living, it is okay to admit you are wrong. I do it all the time. I admit it maybe at the start of the show, and we'll dive deeper into it tomorrow. I started with a mission that I might be wrong on the Tanner McKee, Marcus Mariota situation. I might be. But I'm not sure yet. But it's okay to say you're wrong. And so many of these guys, once they get big, they hate, even the small timers, they hate to admit they're wrong. And when they don't admit they're wrong, they double down. Then they triple down. Then they quadruple down. And it makes them look even stupider. But yet they still get the clicks. They still get the views. They still get it. Meanwhile, I'm here with 18 likes on YouTube and 6 on Facebook. I can't get you guys to do better than that. There's my ego coming in. If they're intangible, how can we tell if they're the same or different? All right. That's a fair comment, but I know what you're getting at. You're trying to egg me on there. His O-line held Bills to nothing, Mixon, Hayden Hurst. These football commentators argue for views. They don't even believe what they're saying. Listen, I agree. They say something, and then they feel like they can't backtrack on it. Dude, if you knew how many times I've backtracked in my time, I've backtracked so many times. It wasn't that long ago where I had Carson Wentz ranked the 4th best quarterback in the NFL. How I still have a career in this, not a career, viewers in this. I have no idea. I mean, seriously. It's okay to backtrack. I think you get more respected if you're willing to backtrack. Say, I was wrong. You might be right on this. Boyd, Higgins, Chase. Yeah, I mean, they're great wide receivers. How they're going to pay them all forever, I don't know. I don't know about that. Again, it came up. I can't even punt the football anymore. All right? Lawrence and Ridley is a better combo than Hurts and Brown. Or Hurts and Smitty is hilarious. Dude, you're talking about that other one. Was it Colin Coward? It's Coward, not Coward or whatever his name is. The fact that he had Derek Carr and Olave at number 5 on that list? Are you serious? Dude, if I was Dak Prescott, I'd be insulted. If I was Kirk Cousins, I'd be insulted. If I was Daniel Jones, I would be insulted by that list. It's just people want to hate. And Jalen Hurts, for some reason, because he does everything the right way, rubs people the wrong way. Yes. Scotty Scheffler screwed me yesterday. Those bogeys on the last 5 holes. God damn. Man, I was wrong on Max Homa, too. He was right there till Saturday. Jalen is the leader of men. People truly forget how young he simply is. Yeah. He literally carries himself like a grown-ass man that's been doing his job for 15 years. You look at me, pizza shop owner for 15 years. How I carried myself as an owner 15 years ago to now, totally different. 15 years of experiences has made me mature, grow, change. Jalen's doing it after 2.5 years. It's insane. And that pisses people off. He don't make mistakes. He doesn't have controversy. You don't see him on TMZ covers. You barely know he's got a girlfriend. He just works. And people don't like that. And I don't know why people don't like that. Like, I don't. Okay, I'll do better. My apologies. Never trust Phil's golf takes. Dude, K1, get out of here. My golf takes are on fire. I'm always there. Yeah, Chris Olave at 5 with Derek Carr. I mean, seriously. Like, if you put that out there in print and on TV, you obviously have no agenda other than trying to piss half the NFL off. There's no other reason you would do that. You cannot physically believe that that is an accurate take. You can't. Phil, if you say something that makes everyone hate, watch, you get more views. I know. But I'd rather grind for 100 or 200 views a day, which last week, again, fantastic viewership. I can't thank everyone, especially my Core 12 enough. Because last week it was almost 1,000 views on YouTube between 5 shows. That was with one barely cracking 100. Fantastic job last week, guys. Almost over 3,000 between Facebook and YouTube last week, and X. I greatly appreciate it, guys. But I'd rather grind harder and respect myself than just say the most outlandish shit I can. I listened to Jim Rome. Yeah, Rackham. Like, I haven't listened to Jim Rome. Is he still a thing? I mean, I haven't listened to him in ages. I'm a huge Jalen Hurts fan. He wins 1 or 2 Super Bowls. He will shut up the naysayers if you're not. I don't know if winning a Super Bowl does it, John. He'll still have naysayers. You don't have to have a rocket arm. No. I've said this, mister, for a long time. And I've asked coaches that have come on this show, should they be, evaluating the intangibles more than whether they can make there's a lot of quarterbacks that make a great back shoulder throw 25 yards down the field, but do they win games? I mean, Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest physically talented quarterbacks of all time. He's won 1 Super Bowl. Because he throws a great pass. He's a great quarterback. But does he lead his team to, like, a guy with Aaron Rodgers' talent? If you put a little bit more work ethic and less drama into his life, he's got 5 Super Bowls at this point. But he doesn't. Because he doesn't have the great work ethic. You won't hear him talk about how people feel about him. He says their opinion doesn't depart. And this is the problem. I mean, yes, I would love to get paid doing this more than I do now. Like a real pay. Like this be my real full time. Sure, who wouldn't want that dream? To just talk as a living about sports. But I'm not gonna compromise my thing. Like, money is important, but so is having values. Yeah. Millions of fans. I thought I said minions for a second. He's had a great comeback season, Ricky Fowler, this year. Great comeback season. I hit his win it was like a month and a half ago. I called his win that week. I had 5 outrights this year. Kind of disappointing. I had 6 outrights last year, 5 this year. Kind of disappointing this year. If they evaluate people's intangibles, Carson doesn't get drafted. And then we have a whole different situation here in Philadelphia. What happens if we don't draft Carson Wentz there? Who knows? Jared Goff doesn't go 1 overall. If you look at people's intangibles, and I'm not saying the intangibles are the only thing. They still got to be able to throw the football. They still got to be able to read a defense. But sometimes a mid quarterback, skill set wise, with elite intangibles, is good enough. How do you think Nick Foles won a Super Bowl for us? He wasn't a great quarterback. He had great intangibles, and he was a good quarterback. If I did not like Hurts' arm, I would tell you it's more of a Jim Kelly throw than a Josh Allen. Super good Elway deep ball. Look, I don't want to bring in the details about what he does. The point is, you guys bring up these James Jones comments, and we go off on a tangent here. And now we got 4 minutes left in the show. And now it's time to start wrapping up the show. What's this say? If I did, oh yeah, I was already on that. Build a studio in Fox's Pizza Den Studios. Yeah, no. Wi-Fi at my shop sucks. I've done a few shows from there. Not elite Wi-Fi. Too much runs on the Wi-Fi. The credit cards, the online ordering, the computer systems, everything. Terrible Wi-Fi there. But look, let's start the wrap-up process here. Back tomorrow, we'll kick off with more Mariota McKee talk. We'll continue on. We didn't really talk running backs too much. Honestly, John, does this make me sound like an awful person? I had no idea who he was. Honestly. Till this past weekend. No clue. Till that video started circulating, no clue who he is. Because I don't watch much mainstream stuff anymore. I'll occasionally turn on ESPN. Occasionally. But not often. I had no idea who he was. Joe Montana and Peyton Manning, did they have great arms? I mean, not fantastic, not elite arms. They're 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Drew Brees never had a big arm. He just knew how to look off defenses, look off the safety. And Drew Brees was shorter than most quarterbacks too. Couldn't see over there. You had to open up lanes for him to throw. I remember hearing a story, not a story, an interview when I was a kid about Joe Montana and Jerry Rice and their workout routine in the offseason, K1. I don't know if anybody else has ever heard this, and I might have it slightly wrong, but Joe Montana and Jerry Rice would get together in the offseason for a weekend or a week and do drills and stuff. And Joe Montana had to hit the top of the hole in the 8. So you got the 8. He had to hit that top of that 8 on every single pass to Joe Montana. He didn't even want Jerry Rice catching the ball. He had to hit the hole in the top of the 8 on every single throw. And if he couldn't do it 10 times in a row, he'd start again. And he had to do it. If he missed that little thing, he'd make the drill start all over again. That's how perfect he wanted to be. He had that work ethic. He was elite, smart, super accurate because he practiced at being accurate nonstop. He put the work ethic in to be great. Greatness doesn't just happen. You might have great physical ability, but being great takes work. Jalen Hurts puts that work in. I don't see it across the NFL, everybody. Justin Fields had multiple games with less than 100 yards passing, and he's a better arm. Exactly. Again, I had no idea who James Jones was. Maybe I heard his name somewhere along the line. Maybe. But, man, him saying this, now he's on my target list. Right there with Chris Simpleton and Dan Sileo and Colin Coward, you know? Yeah. Montana was tough as nails, too. I saw the Eagles beat him up for 3 quarters in that fourth quarter. Geez. Yeah. Take a hit, keep on ticking, or whatever that saying goes, Tyrone. It is what it is, man. All right, we're going to end this here. We can pick this conversation up tomorrow, 8:15, here on Philadelphia Sports Network. Make sure you hit the like button, the follow button, the subscribe button, the share button, the notification button. Every button, just hit it. We got to wrap this shebang up. Like I said, we got 18 likes on YouTube, 6 on Facebook. Yeah, everybody have a great day. It's going to be a hot Monday in the Philadelphia area. Cool off a little bit tomorrow. So stay hydrated today. It's going to be a hot one at the pizza shop today. That is for sure. Busy day. Got a lot of catering orders this week again. Ciao, Paisan. That's right, ciao. James Jones argues Fields is better thrower, but then looks at his rushing touchdowns as his evidence. I know. Anyway, we're going to wrap this shebang up here. Overtime isn't happening. I gave you guys free overtime today by starting at 8:05. Just so you know, I gave you guys 10 extra minutes today for free. So we'll wrap it up today. Tomorrow, 8:15, normal time tomorrow. John, you have a great day as well. Thank you very much for your support always, my man. Have a great day, guys. Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network, every day live, 8:15. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel. We'll see you tomorrow, guys, and go Birds!